I can hear in my voice at this moment the same thing that I heard from some of my neighbors. I first do want to say to everyone here how much my wife and I appreciate your time and efforts on behalf of our children. I have a daughter who's at Countrywood and a son who will soon be there as well. My wife and I wrote a letter that was published in Newsday on Monday. I'd like to share it, if that's okay.
Yep.
Because what we called for after speaking with, or after seeing the news, and what Dr. D'Elia, I had emailed you as well, the thing that I'm still not hearing is an address of the concern that this is not a decision grounded in what the evidence tells us is best for our kids. So I'll just share here. On January 25th, the South Huntington School District Board of Education voted to contract upfront security associates to provide armed security at each of the district's school buildings. On January 30th, guards with concealed firearms were stationed in district parking lots. The board and central administration said this measure would provide an extra layer of security in the event of a school shooting. Several members of the board described the decision-making process as lengthy and judicious, but the board and central administration have not addressed the fact that the majority of respected, independent research on school shootings, along with the details of nationally publicized cases of school violence, provide scant evidence that armed guards prevent or even help mitigate potential safety threats. We've asked the board for such evidence and have not received it. In an attempt to assuage concerns about positioning armed security on campus, the board and central administration explained that the armed guards have extensive law enforcement experience and have been directed to only enter the school or interact with students in the event of an emergency. Still, when our children, my daughter, gets off the bus each day and walks into school, she will be in the proximity of firearms. In other words, the institution of armed security on South Huntington school grounds represents a qualitative shift in the learning environment for all students, faculty, and staff. Since the board voted, we have wondered, my wife and I, and many in the community it seems, what this decision says about our schools, our community, and our country. If nothing else, these questions deserve robust public dialogue in search of common understanding. The district prides itself on clear and regular communication with its families, and in most circumstances, that pride is absolutely warranted. Teachers and building administrators send daily messages about everything from bus delays to extracurricular opportunities. Central administration regularly communicates about events, initiatives, and concerns. The superintendent, Dr. D'Elia, you recap each week with a phone call to families that we look forward to. While this proposal was presented at a public meeting on January 11th and voted on during an open session on the 25th, we were unaware of it. The first proactive communication that we found about the issue was on January 26th after the vote. We received another message on January 30th informing us that guards were in place. And reviewing public commentary from the January 25th board meeting and hearing from parents tonight, it's clear we were not the only ones left unaware. Yes, we should have paid closer attention to the Board of Education meeting agenda, but we also maintain that a decision of this magnitude in terms of both dollars and public policy deserved far wider publicity and more thorough community input. The intuition of every parent and educator, everyone in this room, is to do whatever is necessary to protect our children. I say our children, I mean that, especially at school. Schools are meant to be places where children cultivate their talents, explore their passions, and form lasting supportive relationships. But in this case, intuitions are not our best policy guide. There simply isn't legitimate evidence that armed guards improve school safety, and that makes us wonder whether $750,000 could be put to better use, providing resources and opportunities for our children. District leadership typically goes above and beyond to communicate with families and to demonstrate transparency. So its decision to take such a different approach, in our opinion, in our view, this time, is concerning for us. While this contract has already been executed, we call on the board to thoroughly explain the evidence-based process that informed this striking decision. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. You had mentioned, what does it say about our country? I mean, it doesn't necessarily say something good. I mean, obviously, we're in a tough place where we see mass shootings and school shootings and university shootings, they are way too common, and obviously this is a response to that, and it's a problem, and it doesn't happen in other countries to the extent it happens here, and that's a very sad fact of life. But it's a fact of life that we need to reconcile with. What does it say about the school district? I mean, to me, it doesn't say we're not taking this measure because our buildings are unsafe or there's threats. Our buildings are very safe. We're taking it because we want to, we have this environment where you hear of shootings on a daily basis, and we're taking every step possible to protect our students. There's been a lot talked about evidence-based approach and studies, and then this is just not an area like studying a drug where you're going to have clinical trials and you're going to show whether that drug works or not. This is a little more amorphous than that. First of all, there's no way to control all variables possible, and there's nothing that shows that armed guards don't work. So it's kind of like proving a negative in this area. So, but like I said, I understand that reasonable minds are going to differ on an issue of this import, and that's okay, and we understand that. You know.
Well, I don't think that discount the entire field of qualitative research.
Ma'am, I was speaking, and okay, I will address your comments as well, though, because I must say I found it incredibly insulting to say that the district was perpetuating racial discrimination. That's false, and it's insulting. So I wasn't going to address your comments, but you're about 1,000%. Excuse me.
Discrimination is not only explicit racism.
Please, we speak it one at a time. That's how we have very calm meetings. But that's, you know, one of the hallmarks of our district is equality, and in everything we do, we strive for that. So this is no way designed for that or perpetuated for that. And we, in fact, and to ensure that, that's why the district guards are placed outside at all times. We always have had former law enforcement officers as part of our school district. All of our daytime security are former law enforcement. The armed guards are just an extra layer. They are former law enforcement who just happen to carry a gun. So they're really the same exact people as our redcoats during the day. And like I said, people are entitled to different opinions on this, but I don't think anyone can question the motivations or where the Board of Education is coming from this. The Board of Education is motivated by keeping people safe, and I think that's also your motivation and everyone's motivation, but people are going to come at that from different angles, and I don't think it makes it wrong, but it's just a difference of opinion on that. Did you want to address the board again?
Okay.
Okay. Oh, anyone else?